What's been so normalized by society that it's actually pretty crazy when you stop to think about it. The sheer amount of food waste in first world nations. The sheer amount of food waste in poor nations. The rate is approximately a third of food is wasted before making it to market, wherever you are in the world. In developed nations this is because Superstore thinks a bent carrot is unacceptable. The unsightly but edible food is trashed. In poorer nations this food is rotting in the ground and being damaged in transport. A third of all food produced globally doesn't make it to market. How many gallons of water is that? How many tons methane is that? How many hours and dollars is that? The problem is at the supply chain level. It doesn't matter if you don't eat your crust. The high cost anymore of weddings. It's absurd what some of the costs are. People ask me why I just want to elope and don't want to do a wedding. Because I'd rather put that money towards paying down my loans or a down payment on a house or replacing one of the cars or anything, really. Plus we both dislike parties and hate being the center of attention. Why do something we are both going to hate just to pacify relatives we hardly ever see? To have opinions on everything. When you think about it, I don't know enough on the subject or I'd have to look into it should be your most common answers when asked what you think about something. In the US at least, saying that is equivalent to saying you're an idiot. Why can't people just admit they lack the information? Pride. People want to win the argument, and if you don't come up with an amazing argument to them, you lose. Working yourself to the bone and still barely be able to pay all the bills. Taxes and bills have gone up in the past, but our salaries never rise along to match it. There are people who say, work smarter, not harder, and that just isn't always possible for everyone, nor are the jobs that attainable. Good luck out there. Not to mention the world needs people to do the jobs that only get paid minimum wage. Food needs cooked, buildings need cleaned, stores need stocked, crops need harvesting, and those jobs deserve to be paid a living wage. Spending 3 months of salary on an engagement ring. It's almost like jewelry salesman made that one up. Diamonds are rare, priceless and the only gift to give your woman if you really love her. See women? If you don't get diamonds, you're not loved. Sincerely, Big Diamond. Alcohol usage is so omnipresent that non-drinkers are pressured to have some kind of justification to not drink. As if I don't feel like using this drug isn't a good enough reason. As a Russian and a non-drinker, this is just insane. If you say that you don't drink, you immediately get hit with why, and if you give something other than a common excuse, you have to drive later, have health issues, etc., people will look at you like you're some kind of creep. Some assholes will also try to push you by using, "Don't you respect me?" argument. Disgusting. That being said, my family is a blessing when it comes to this issue. My mom was allergic to alcohol to begin with, then stopped drinking when I was around 12 to 13. Young enough to have any idea how good/bad it feels, but old enough for a serious explanation about why alcohol is a bad thing. Around the same time my grandfather made a conclusion for himself that drinking isn't worth it. If you can't have fun at a party when you're not drunk, then that's one shitty party. Disposable plastic. This is the one that gets me. Instead of banning just straws and making people pay for plastic bags, we need to seriously lower the amount of plastic packaging that we use. That's the real issue. I worked for a very large cannabis processor, watching the waste stream come out of packaging products alone. Some of it is mandated by regulation. 6 milliliters thick bags, tamper-resistant packaging, etc. makes me want to have home grow legal for everyone. Even if you grow your own tomatoes you still have to go to the store. For most people, they might grow enough for themselves. There's others out there who can definitely grow more. But there would always be a market for regulated vape carts, topicals, and edibles, etc. Some people might still only want to buy packs of Perals. But to see 55-gal trash cans filled with waste, and to see the waste that the consumers have to dispose of makes it a serious issue for myself. 40-hour work week. It's super unnecessary in most professions. Most people bullshit for at least 20 of those. We are wasting huge chunks of our lives chatting and checking social media. And even if you're not one of those who procrastinate for 20 hours, it's likely that 20 hours of your time is still spent on too many meetings and writing up pretty looking reports that nobody reads. Yes, I know some meetings are necessary and some reports are worth it, but most of them are probably bullshit. Parents playing on tricks on their young children in order to make their kids cry, and recording the kid's reaction and putting the recording online so anybody can view it. What's even worse is that if the kid cries, not even having a tantrum or lashing out at their parents, just crying, people get angry at the kid, not at the parents, who are clearly making their kids cry. Sometimes people do get angry at the parents for raising their kid wrong, because the kid had the nerve to get upset when the kid was provoked into getting upset. Even worse when the kid says that's okay and people praise the parents for raising their kids right. You know the kid is devastated inside and is trying to bottle up their emotions. Isn't this bad? If you're a parent and you do this crap to your kid, you're a bully. You're no different from that kid in school making fun of that student because you feel you can and fully expect the kid not to fight back against you. And you deserve to have your kid lash out at you. Politicians who see no problem with perpetuating endless wars. Pretty much everybody wants out of Afghanistan. It's just no way at the moment without effing everybody there who helped America. It's so much more complicated than anybody wants to admit. Unfortunately, the US is in a damned if it does, damned if it doesn't situation. Not that it didn't put itself there, and the best option really is a continued presence in the region until a clear end goal is viable. There is no clear solution and you can always spot the misinformed by their insistence that there is. This isn't too insane, but the pressure to not want to change yourself. Lots of people make inspiring videos about how people should not want to change who they are. We had things like this at my school saying we should love ourselves just the way we are. I want to clarify, I'm not unhappy with myself. This apparently wasn't clear enough to my teacher, cause I told everyone I wish I had blue eyes, and they told me that was just society's impossible beauty standards for women. We have all normalized the fact that we shouldn't change who we are, but there is nothing wrong with that. I just wanted blue eyes. This is starting to creep into the fitness world and it's crazy. I'm in some fitness groups on Facebook and quite a few of them I've left because they slowly turned into places where people couldn't discuss their aesthetic goals, like lose 10 pounds or drop a dress size, because it was shaming other members. The fact that many people think people from other countries are oppressed or brainwashed. People that make these claims have most definitely never even been to the country they were talking about, and yet make outrageous claims, even to those who have lived there and felt fine. Another thing is the fact that people react differently to an event depending on who was responsible. That airstrike killed several civilians? Tell me what country did it, so I know whether I should get angry or not. This is a touchy subject, because people usually don't like to think of themselves as wrong. Also, the people forming these views are generally educated enough and like to think their education has paid off in an unbiased worldview. The sad thing is, you just can't trust the news, period. The same headline about an airstrike in a local newspaper will point the blame to a different source than a foreign newspaper will. Both countries will make out the event in a way that furthers their agenda. What view of this situation do we want the people to see? Even the headline will drastically affect what people think, and quite often, it's the headline that delivers the true agenda. Even if the article itself is quite neutral, it builds up on what people think of other countries, races, and religions. I say this as a person from a country that gets way more bad rap on media than is fair, especially considering the beauty of our culture. But people see the bad news every day, and before you know it, I have to hide my identity in video games I used to enjoy because of who I am and where I'm from. I like to think it's not their fault. Brainwashing is more than just those swelly-eyed cartoons we see on TV. We just need to show them it's not really like that. There really isn't a black and white with everyone, most of us are grey. Referring to intoxicants as drugs and alcohol. Alcohol is absolutely a drug and does not justify a distinction, or I guess the problematic part is the actual attitude that this results from. I think the separation of the two enables us to continue to over-stigmatize drug use, since drugs excludes the one drug we all use, which of course maintains our complicity in the racist and also ineffective drug war. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe.